Hello, everybody out there. I used to have this. I used to really like Blue Oyster Cult before I got into the Grateful Dead. Blue Oyster Cult was my favorite band, and there was one live album where they're like, "Hello, everybody out there in Radio Land." So what I'm going to say is, "Hello, everybody out there in YouTube Land," to put a modern twist on it. So I'm sure you want to hear about NVDA, but I want to talk about something else first. And the numbers just came out, and the stock is up, but something pretty cool in the market may happen with the Dow Jones over the next week or two. Hopefully, it will if we keep going higher. But let me bring up the Dow Jones, which I don't usually look at for reasons I explain in my class. In the institutional world, it's no one really looks at the Dow Jones for reasons like it's a price weighted index. But anyway, hovering kind of around 40,000. All right. The reason why I bring this up and why I think we're coming to a cool potential anniversary that no one is talking about other than me, because I'm really into this history stuff. When the Dow Jones first came out in 1896, May 26th, 1896. So that's in what, 4 days from now? The very first print of the Dow Jones was, drum roll, 40.94, $40.94, or however you want to define it, 40.94. So I think if over the next week or two we get to 40,940, I mean, it's up 10,000 times. It's really cool. And I think what's kind of cool too is if you look way back here, this is the Dow in 1896 to 1933. You see the same patterns you see now that we always talk about: resistance at a former resistance level, support at a former support level. I mean, and this is why there's a reason for this is because charts, if they're viewed properly, are a graphical illustration of investor psychology. All right. What was going on in the Dow Jones back in the 1800s? What were the companies? American Cotton Oil, La Clady Gas, whatever the hell that is, North American, U.S. Leather, U.S. Rubber, Distilling and Cattle Feed, companies that don't even exist anymore. So there's no one who traded in the markets back then who's still alive now. The companies are all different. The technology is different. But guess what? Human nature has not changed. So you see these same patterns in historical charts, because if you look, most technical analysts basically suck, and they just kind of try to identify patterns without really understanding what it is that forms the patterns on the charts. If you can understand what forms the pattern, the human psychology of it, you're going to be way better off. The ultimate reality of trading, if you're a prop trader or a day trader, there's a lot of different systems that work: moving averages, trading reversions. The problem is the psychology. People become afraid of losing money, so they sell their winners too soon. They hold on to their losers too long. All right, so let me go on and on and on, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's look at NVIDIA. Now, let's keep in mind, a lot of times the initial reaction is wrong and there tends to be a reversal. So we're trading at 987. There was important resistance around 950. So we'll see if there is a reversal, but my initial look at these numbers is they're pretty damn good. And here are two things that bode well for NVIDIA in the future. Now, I'm talking about now more of an investment. Trading wise, maybe it's a little overbought and there might be something on the downside, but I don't know if I'd want to get on the downside of this, because whenever a company increases a dividend or adds a dividend, that's always good news. I mean, I've been doing this 25 years. I don't know if I've ever seen a time where a dividend increase was a bad thing. Basically, what happens is companies, when they first start out, they take a lot of the extra profit they make and a lot of the extra money they make, and they put it into growing the company. They invest in new factories or they hire out people or whatever. All right. When the growth kind of starts to slow down a little bit because they're just getting really big, which I assume NVIDIA is, they start to say, okay, we're going to take this money and instead of reinvesting it, we're going to just pay it out as a dividend. So this is always a good sign. I mean, don't sue me if NVIDIA doesn't go up by next year, but I mean, because who knows what's going to happen? But increasing dividends, especially when a company adds a dividend, whether it's NVIDIA or any company, they start paying a dividend. It's just good news. There's really no way to interpret it from a negative point of view. The stock split is also a sign of good things. Why would a company split its stock? I don't know what the exact ratio is, but when a company splits its stock, all they're doing is reducing the price, but they're increasing the amount of shares. So let's just say hypothetically, you got one share, and the stock is at $1,000, and they do a 2-for-1 split. Well, now you're going to have two shares at $500. So you have the same value, but you have two shares instead of one share. All right. Why do companies split their stock? Well, because it makes it more attractive to most investors, retail and institutional. A retail investor might not be able to afford to buy, a couple shares or one share if it's at $1,000. But maybe if it's at $500, it's different. The institutional world, listen, I was there 25 years. There's a lot of smart people, but there's a lot of not smart people. It just becomes more palatable for the human. Boy, palatable. I don't think I've ever used that word before. It becomes more acceptable for humans. It's just the way people think. One share at $1,000 is worth the same value of two shares at 500. But to the human mind, oh, we have two instead of one. It's $500 is cheaper than 1,000, so I'm going to get in. So the initial reaction for me is these numbers look really good. Something like this, though, could overreact. If everyone who wants to buy it has done so or is doing so right now, tomorrow morning, there's no one left to buy it. The market runs out of buyers. Guess where it's going? Down. But in the long run, I think these numbers look pretty good. And if it does go down, where I'd be looking for support is around this 950 level. It was really important for a while. All right. Resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. Levels that were resistance can turn into support. This happens because the people that sell think they did a great job when the market goes lower, but eventually it gets back up to their price and then it goes higher. And they're like, man, I made a mistake. I mean, think about it. You sell something at 10, then it goes to 12. A lot of people would say, hey, if this gets back to 10, I'm buying my shares back. That's the dynamic that causes resistance to turn into support. You can even see it down here. So we're going to be watching this tomorrow. It's still moving a little bit higher. But remember, if everyone who wants to owns it. The only way it can go is down. A lot of times when these things reverse, it's typically around mid-morning. So maybe 10:30 tomorrow morning. Start taking a look at it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I hope this helps. And please follow us and join us and blah, 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 and all that stuff. All right. Thanks, everybody.